Hey, good evening. It is January 4th, 2024. This is the meeting of the Affordable Housing Trust in Kingston. Present from the Affordable Housing Trust, we have
Oh, Armstrong.
Jennifer Alaconis.
Jean Landis Nauman and
Nathan Hedberg.
Nathan. We can hardly hear you. Can you turn your volume up?
All right.
Yeah, we don't want to miss one of your precious words.
Let me see what I can do for settings.
That's better. That's
Okay.
better.
That's different. Okay. I didn't actually
Yep.
change anything, but okay.
It's better. Okay. This meeting is being recorded by PAC TV. Anyone intending to make an audio or video recording of this meeting should notify the chair at this time. All right. So this evening, our first order of business is we have a guest with us, Josh Natella. He and his wife, Angela, do housing development, and they're interested in what's going on here in Kingston and how they might get involved. So Josh, I'm going to let you start. You can tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, when we reached out, my wife reached out, Angela. So we're a husband and wife team. My wife left her full-time corporate position about a year ago with Christmas Tree Shop, and she's been full-time. We have a small team, a small development team on the South Shore, and we pretty much touch every portion of the real estate business. We're investors, we're landlords, we are developers, and it was only become recent, I guess when I say recent, within the last few years that we've become, familiar with the 40B process, with the affordable housing kind of crisis. A gentleman by the name of Jim Cowett is a mentor of mine, and he's been, a gentleman who went from, has lived on the Cape and the South Shore his whole life and went from being homeless to, being the opposite of that through real estate. And, has been a big proponent in our lives and taught us a lot about the affordable, about the challenges of affordable housing, especially on the South Shore. We live in Weymouth, so we're based on the South Shore. We've lived there for 8 years. My wife is from the Cape. I'm originally from Andover, so this is kind of like meeting in the middle. This is the middle ground. It's the compromise we all learn about marriage. And essentially, again, our goal was not necessarily to come and present. It's more about to come and listen at the end of the day. And we've been doing this, and really our goal is to start to talk to and start lines of dialogue with South Shore towns that are in our area where we work in. I also own a construction company. This is our construction company, Two Beers Construction. We also operate on the South Shore. Every town, what we found by talking to different affordable housing committees and trusts is that, yes, the need for affordable housing is universal, yet everyone's needs are tailored and are individualized. And so by, having conversations proactively, when we talk about programs like, 40B developments, they are not a surprise. They are not here's what we want to do with your town or something like this, or build in your town. It's what are you looking to do? And how might we be able to help? How might we be able to align what we're doing with what your needs are? And I think it's just a much more collaborative approach. I mean, we just signed on. I just brought this because this is something that's recent. This is just, and maybe we can, I don't know how we can share this on Zoom or whatnot, but this is just a project we're working on in Pembroke that the town just signed on to make it officially a LIP application. So they just signed their letter of endorsement with DHCD. So they are officially now on board. And I mean, this came from a year, actually going on a year and a half of conversations, informal conversations with the Affordable Housing Committee there. We are also working with the Affordable Housing Trust down in Wareham on 2 different projects that we're looking to also go the LIP route with specifically. And really what we focus on is smaller developments, residential in scale and scope and look. because we realized that, the impact of a large development to, residential neighborhoods. And, we look to work with towns that are, that are looking proactively to address these issues, not reactively. When we had, when we approached Pembroke, they were under threat of a very nasty 40B, and we were the exact opposite of that. Maybe that worked to our favor, I'm not sure, but.
Yes.
So yeah, that brings me here. I think that's long-winded enough. I figure I'll stop there and just, open it up. And I don't know how to share this with you. I'm sorry.
Um,
Yeah,
No problem.
it's Difficult to put it in front of the camera. Can we share it? We can share it by email.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I can send it to you or send it to you or however you want.
yeah, if you
whatever's
could just
easiest.
send it to me, that'd be
Sure.
great. Cause I'll have to scan it. It never comes out quite as good when you scan it.
Now, when is this going to start?
Well, DHCD is going to be doing, obviously on site.
Mhm.
We've submitted it before the new year. That was our goal. Made it by 2 days. And so, I mean, 2024 is possible, but just due to it being New England and, how many rounds we go through with the ZBA, could push into,
Mhm.
Q1 of 2025.
Agreed with that.
So have you been in front of the ZBA in Pembroke?
I
yet?
have not. I have not. I've
Okay.
been in front of the select board and obviously doing a lot of work. We did a lot of work up front with the Affordable Housing Committee. They're, obviously they have members of the select board, they, members of the planning board,
Mhm.
all in that, committee. I'm sure it's similar. And so and we presented informally in front of the planning board and, a couple other boards. We talked to the Board of Health many times, and we took everyone's input before we ever even made it to the select board. So
Mhm.
we had already gone through a dozen revisions before we ever even got, to any sort of formal,
Mhm.
presentation stage.
So you understand the multiple steps.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
and you're still not daunted.
I'm not daunted. No, I'm not daunted. I've definitely learned things along the way.
Yeah.
But, this is a space that, it aligns well with our skill set,
Mhm.
at the end of the day, obviously with my personal skill set. And my
Mhm.
wife is an amazing, relations person. She'll be the one that, knows everyone's name, knows everyone's kids' names. That is not me.
Mhm.
But I do the work on the back end. And,
Okay.
that was what it was on this particular project, is that when we got to the select board, it was, I had an answer and a specific reason why we did and didn't do anything when we brought it there.
Mhm.
And I think that's what kind of builds the relationship over
Mhm.
time.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, so how many of these are gonna be considered affordable?
So 25%.
Okay,
So it's gonna be 25% at 80% AMI.
80%?
80%, yeah, 20 units. And this is the type of project, and this is on less than 1.5 acres of land. This is 1.4 acres of land. So, and it still has a low impact residential feel. I never went to the town with a large uni building structure,
Mhm.
more than 2.5 stories. I never even, I think the number of zoning exclusions, I mean, all our setbacks are within town guidelines, residential guidelines. I think the only exclusions were, at the end of the day, were density, obviously per acre.
Mhm.
Even our septic system, we're doing, 110 gallons per day versus the 150 that the state requires. So we're even meeting the town's guidelines, which are higher.
Mhm.
So, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, what do you mean 150?
So for septic guidelines for the state, they're,
It's 110 gallons per day. These aren't over 55s. Are these over 55s?
as far as I understand, the state guideline is 110 gallons. I had it backwards, 110 gallons per day. And Pembroke's has a higher 150
Okay,
gallon per
Okay,
day. Sorry, I had it backwards. I said it reverse. And we're gonna be meeting that requirement. So
Okay,
again,
so
that
it's
was
not,
just,
it's not age directed.
no, it's not age restricted, sorry.
okay.
Go
You
ahead.
got what? One building's got the 2-bedroom units and the rest are all
Yes.
1-bedroom.
No, 1 and 3. It's a mix of 1 and 3. So you have basically a 7 unit on either side flanking and a 6 unit in the middle.
I'm
The six-
talking about. Okay, you got 4 1, but is the one that is one, okay, each building has at least one 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom. There's no 3 bedrooms. There's two, one building's got 1 3-bedroom, one.
The
one-
layout that
oh,
you're
two-
looking at is
one-
each floor.
But
of the
there's
building.
one 3-bedroom, right?
Yep.
And there's 1, 2, 3, 4.
There's 3 buildings, right?
Three buildings.
Okay, so there's 2, we're just trying to get the mix. There's
Yep.
2 3-bedrooms, one and built, the left building and the right building has 1 3-bedroom.
Right.
And
They're
and
essentially
then
mirrors of each
3
other.
2-bedrooms.
Mm-hmm,
So there's 2 and 3 is 5
mm-hmm.
that are over 1 bedroom and the rest are all 1 bedroom.
No, it's, so the 3 2-bedrooms per floor, that is a mirror
Okay, so
image.
that's
The
second.
bottom and the top floor are mirror images of each other.
Yeah.
So the middle building is 6, all 2 bedrooms in the middle
Okay.
building. And then on either flank, you have one of the 3 bedrooms on the bottom floor. I don't know if this outline shows it, or if this floor
I'm
plan
saying, so
shows it.
there's a 3-bedroom, 1 3-bedroom in this one.
Yep, and one
And there's 1
3-bedroom.
3-bedroom on that one.
And the
This
rest
is
are
a
one
mirror
bedrooms.
on, then.
On
like
each
1, 2,
floor,
3,
is that what
6,
you're saying?
6, 3, 2 bedrooms, right?
Yep.
Well, yeah, and then the rest are all 1 bedroom, so there's, right? 6
Yeah.
Well, he's got the
2-bedroom.
count up here.
Yeah,
Paul,
it's
right
right-
under the
Right
description.
here, yeah, so.
12, 1, 6, 2,
Yeah, that's what I got.
2, 3.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And how did you decide on that mix?
That was my question when we got to it.
That's
Good.
Well, the original plan before we became more well-versed in this was 24 2-bedrooms, because it was but both the septic load, so this was,
Is this more comfortable to the, is this
Yeah.
more comfortable to the Affordable Housing Trust of the town in
it
general?
was. I was advised early that, 2-bedrooms that are kind of like the new 1-bedroom, where you need kind of a second room as a space,
for an office.
For an office, yes, exactly. So we started with 24 2-bedrooms that was split over 4 buildings.
Mhm.
And the 4 buildings of the footprint, we actually moved that, we actually reduced the number of bedrooms, so we reduced the septic load, we reduced the traffic load, and we're able to make it 26, so it was both, equitable for both.
Mhm.
And in their housing production plan, they're outlining some different guidelines that they'd
Mhm.
like for, and one of the guidelines that they outlined was 15 units per acre. Which worked out on this lot to be,
Mhm.
20 units. It worked out to be 3 buildings, just taking.
That was a
one of them.
guideline by who?
This was by the Affordable Housing
Their-
Committee of.
Their
the
housing
town.
production
Yeah,
plan
Oh, the housing
Exactly.
production plan.
for Pembroke.
Had a max
Yeah.
of 15 units. per
Yeah,
acre.
it was-
That was their
obviously 40B,
desire.
that was their desire, exactly. And so we listened to that, and we actually took it from 26, 4 buildings. It was gonna be another building of 2 bedrooms in the center,
Mhm.
to down to the 3 buildings, which from a complexity standpoint, it really does make the site a lot cleaner, quite
Mhm.
frankly.
Mhm. How much green space is there?
I don't know the total acreage. But there is space in the back. So the front is obviously parking.
The back's a drainage ditch, isn't it?
There is drainage in the back, yes, there is drainage in the back. But if you flip it over here, you can actually see some of the
Over
drainage.
by planes, yeah, well, yeah, that's all slope right there, right?
No, I mean, obviously it'll be graded, the buildings will be.
You know what I'm saying, there's a slope right here, there's a slope from here to here, because that's what those lines are.
That there is a slight slope, but it's not, it's not like a cliff, right? This is an entirely flat lot, essentially. But I think it will become more graded. I think that'll be part of the site work, that they're designing, obviously.
No, so we're just looking at, when we discuss it, we're looking for some sort of, you only have 2, 3 bedrooms, so there's only gonna be 2, assume 2, be a minimum amount of children maybe, but,
We were very sensitive. That was not a concern brought up, was the bedroom
Mhm.
units. In fact, I guess they have had, falling school attendance or something
Mhm.
along these
So,
lines. So this was
Additional
not-
children running in.
This was not an issue. We are aware of this. The gentleman that I mentioned is my mentor, is, on the planning board of, of another town in the South Shore. And, he made us aware of, the financial impact of the town.
Mhm.
So we're aware of these things. But again, every town has, sorry, I have no
That's
idea
okay.
who's texting me here, but
Oh.
this is what I'm
as long
talking.
as somebody's paying you some money, that's what kind of.
This is what I'm talking about, though. These things come up and every town says, yes, this is a big concern. in not so many words and other
Yeah.
people may not. And, so it's a different mix as to what, and so that was the whole point of this at the end of the day, is to start these conversations, to say what, to get a better lay for what towns are needing and what types of housing they're needing. And yes, it's all affordable and yes, it's all needed and, but what does that mix look like? And every town is unique. So
Okay.
that's what we're up here.
So now, the 1.4 acres, is this land that you purchased?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, and how much of it is treed right now?
Not much.
Not much,
It's
okay.
pretty cleared out, actually.
Okay.
The person had a nice little garden there and they had a extensive, greenhouse in the back. So I guess they had already cleared it. and
So
it's
this was
been
all a private home area?
Yes, there's actually a single family residence right now that we are renting to a Marine veteran.
Okay.
She's she's a great tenant.
Okay, so how close are neighbors?
So your abutters are, you only have two touching abutters. If you use a 300 or 500 foot,
Mhm,
it depends on what you consider the
Mhm.
abutters.
mhm.
But directly across the street, there's actually a convenience store, and then 45 degrees across the four-way intersection, there is the school bus lot.
Okay.
So even though this is within a residential zoning,
Mhm.
it is on, it has great frontage for access on two
Okay.
streets. And it's not.
Okay,
at the end of the
orient me
cul-de-sac.
to Plain Street. Where is that?
It's
'Cause
in,
I see a Lake Street.
yeah,
I feel like I should know where that is. Do you know, Paul?
I looked it up.
yeah, if you look at
It's
the
off of
street view, you
27,
probably,
they're right off of
yeah.
27.
The Irish
Yeah.
Connection.
On the way to the
Philadelphia.
skating rink, I think, isn't it?
yes, exactly.
Okay.
That's like.
Okay, so there's the middle school. Okay, so it's close to the middle school. Okay, I know where that is. So, yeah,
So If you
so
have
it's right off 27.
if you already, they haven't come down yet and done a site visit, is that right?
They haven't. No, the state you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty,
kind of know where it
it's
is.
pretty
yeah.
cursory.
Yeah. We're less worried about the site visit. Yeah, we don't foresee any challenges. We have a 40B consultant who works in housing, has worked in housing for years, doesn't see any challenges with that. And that was actually, select board, chair's comments was that essentially this will fly through.
Have you done this design anywhere else?
This is where we're starting with this design. This is a new design. Our architect has done work in Boston. He's an independent. He works for, again, like us, he worked for a large corporation, architectural firm, and he
Okay.
now
Just, I've
freelances.
never seen one where they have except the motels, where you have an outside entrance.
Well, you know,
No.
it reminds me of Cape housing,
Does it?
yeah, or down south where you can, because all that walkway is gonna have to be shoveled when it,
Yeah.
when there's snow.
Wareham has a similar
Do they?
setup, but you don't have your outdoor entrance.
And-
It's-
Just to make, because it's been questioned before, the textures, it's just the texturing software. So like,
Mhm.
you'll see like the roof runs into the side, like it's not obvious. Like those are not gonna be encased like that. There's kind of an older style.
I was
you know what
looking
mean?
at that, yeah.
Yeah, that's an old, we're probably not gonna go that direction. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's just the way that the architectural software textures the
Right.
outside and
Yeah.
textures the walkways. It kind of
Yeah.
makes them blocks.
Yeah.
Are any of them gonna be accessible?
Well, that was one of the big key features on the accessible. So I tried to start with, because I was so sensitive to the look and the feel, that I wanted one entrance. And so that there would be these are essentially less than 4,000 square feet each. So there'd be like, 4,000 square foot, look like a 4,000 square foot home with a single entrance. You'd almost drive by it and not know. The two things that my architect really pushed on was, if you want a community feel, if you want to be in the gray building, you want to be in the white building, you want to be able to reference what building you're in.
Mhm.
And then if you are having your mail delivered, you want it to be delivered to your unit directly. You don't want to have shared mail units. You don't want to be walking through common areas. That's where problems arise. And so actually, because we've gone with that, one entrance obviously per unit, you've got about a 50% accessibility rate on this. And so that was, kind of my counterpoint was that, no, we're not making this age restricted, but, we're going to obviously be doing assigned parking on that front row for your primary spot. And so some individuals will have, you know, a 10, 15-foot walk from their
Mhm.
car with no steps to their front door. Which is kind of what we were going for.
Right.
But you do know that handicapped accessible probably will require wider
Sure.
doorways, lower counters.
You might get a credit though, and going accessible, it doesn't cost that much more
Sure.
than,
No, we've done them in the past.
Yeah.
yeah.
42
it's
inch
not.
doors.
Yeah.
No, they don't
It's worth it,
You
you
can get
know,
a 3-foot door though, because only needs 32 per way.
Okay.
yeah,
But,
something to think about.
we did some disabled vet stuff.
The one thing I noticed, and it could just be, again, this is kind of a flat drawing, is what kind of, is there gonna be any kind of overhang over the doorways, or is it just gonna be?
Yeah,
flat?
I'm sure there will be, just because,
Okay.
you know, just, you know, being in
Yeah.
construction in the past, this, yeah, this wouldn't work, just from a.
No, it's like Paul said, it looks like a motel.
Yeah, oh,
I don't mean
that's,
that, drawing. Let me say, it.
Oh, but it does.
But you'll have the same exit on, it's gonna look like the same in the back too, right?
yeah, exactly,
Because that's the
exactly.
second means of egress.
Exactly.
Okay.
Nathan,
I
I know
just-
you can't
it's
see
different,
this,
yeah.
but from what we've said, do you have any questions?
No, I think in terms of trying to share information that would be useful to you, I love the discussion about the accessibility. I think that's an important thing to design into the housing from the beginning. At least in Kingston, according to demographics, there's sort of an aging population. So if we were to discuss doing a project in Kingston, I would say it should be designed for people in the Kingston and surrounding towns to be able to live in a generally smaller, easier to maintain, less costly sort of space. And so I like the mix of the 1-bedroom units into the proposal.
Okay, so I have a question. Are these rentals or condos?
Rentals, yeah,
They're rentals.
and our background is rental properties.
Okay, and so you're gonna maintain ownership, and you will be hiring the landscaping companies and the maintenance companies and all that.
Yeah, especially for the lottery. I mean, obviously, right? That's one thing that we are not, you know, familiar with is going through the lottery process for the first go around. So that we understand that there's gonna be regulations where we're gonna have to bring in extra help, just like we did with our 40B consultant to
Mhm.
fill in those gaps that are specific to the 40B process. But yeah, we do only rental, which I think makes us a little unique because I feel like, at least from my discussions with other towns, they mainly seem to get proposed condo developers who want to build
Return
condos.
of investment. That's what it is.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you know, I think it's short-sighted, you know,
Well,
but
the
that's
only
just
thing
me.
I can tell you is that right now, we had a large apartment complex built attached to the local mall, and they are having great difficulty filling it. And it's rentals.
Now, I would make a note about that.
Huh?
That I would, the comment I would make about those mall apartments is that they're fairly high end, which goes along
Well,
with
the
a lot
rents
of the
are.
development.
Yeah, the
The rents
rents are.
are, yeah. And so, you know, a
Yes.
lot of the development I've seen in the past couple of years, a lot of it's been high end. It's advertised as large apartments, you know, high quality finishes. And while that's good, it of course is going to demand a higher price. And I think something that would be more beneficial to more people would be, you know, sort of the starter home mentality, where it's a smaller space, maybe not, you know, all the granite countertops and fancy finishes, in order to make it more a small A affordable.
Yeah.
Right.
The one they're talking about is almost 300 units. So
Yeah,
it's a big animal.
I think
It
a
is.
lot
Compared to
is,
this.
you know, could be held for investment.
yeah. Well, then we have the one on Thomas Street. It's still in discussion stages, but 165 units. And it's gonna be a 40B. So I don't know if they're gonna go forward with that.
And you got the one on
Also,
Bay Avenue too, but that's a small one.
On May.
Bay Avenue, they went in.
Oh, yes, we know about the one in May Avenue, which is
I mean,
in
that one's,
Appeals, right?
Yeah.
It's right next to Nathan's
Yeah,
house, yeah. But then we also had the one on Crescent Street. You know, they want to put
yeah,
in
they haven't
90 some
filed it. As
units.
far as what's filed. There's the one on Wapping Road, that's over, he's trying to go with that on over
Yeah,
55,
Creole.
Riola, which has a different flow rate.
Yeah.
That one just got filed. The one on Thomas Street, which is actually off of Cushman Drive,
Mhm.
that one's a few weeks older, but still just filed, but actually filed with the zoning board of appeals.
Mhm.
The one on May Avenue was a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. Maybe,
Yeah, 2020.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
so
that one's
3
been
years,
appealed
almost
and
4 years.
appealed and appealed, and it's gonna continue to appeal, so.
Yeah. The situation here in Kingston right now is that there's a lot of moratorium. There's no new water hookups. So as a affordable housing trust, we've been looking at properties that already have water and sewer, because the other thing is there was a sewer moratorium. Town meeting recently approved to have new leaching fields built. And those should start to come online sometime later this year.
It's only, and not even 25% of the town is on sewage.
Yeah, it's
75%
a
is-
small
Sure.
number. It's mostly
and this is
right along
private.
the coast.
sewer, by the way. And this is private, by the way, obviously, we already.
You're gonna
talked
have a
about
private,
it. Yeah,
okay,
Under the parking lot.
Yeah.
okay, all right.
Cool.
And
so we're not, that's not like super scary. I mean, obviously, it's not ideal, but it's not,
Okay,
a deal breaker.
okay, and Pembroke is no problem with
No.
the water connection, right?
No, not with the water.
I don't know, if you've seen them in town, a little different, but we've had several developments that were single-family detached 40Bs. I don't know if you've done them.
Are we talking like ADUs? Like,
No,
Well, there's 25% affordable.
right, it's a 40B, but it's not an ADU.
No,
yeah, I didn't know what the single family detached, single family detached.
they own their own
40B would look
lots.
like.
They're all, they go in and do a subdivision and, but the lots are 50 or 60 by 100.
Okay,
And everybody owns their own lot. And they have an association and 25% affordable. I don't know if you've seen it, but
I
it
haven't.
works nice.
So it's one on Elm, on Elm
Huh?
Street.
Like, Nobody or Circle,
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Barrows Brook Estates, which is
Mhm.
Barrows. I think, I'm not sure what the name of the street is there. And, all the ones at the country club,
Mhm.
those are all 40Bs.
You said
Right.
Barrows Brook Estate, and then what was the couple
It's
of?
off of Grove Street.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
And nobody.
Nobody or Circle, which is off of Moffin Road.
Mhm.
Barrows Brook Estate, I'm not sure what the name of the street is in there, but
Well, it's off 27, right?
no,
Or
it's off
106.
of Grove Street,
Oh,
right,
it's off
right by
Grove
the
Street.
railroad.
Oh, okay,
bridge.
I know where you're from.
And then, Nobody or Circle was,
Mhm.
Daisy did that off of Moffin Road, and then Ponsburg's got 3 or 4 different ones. If you
Right.
go up to the golf course, you'll see them on both sides of the
Well, the
street.
one I know,
Huh?
was that a 40B?
No,
That's not
that was
detached
done
either.
under the,
It's Stacy, right?
yeah, it's in the R20 zone far enough back, but they
Mhm.
did it under the multifamily section
right.
with the open space in the R40.
That's
Yeah, the only thing, the only difference with this plan I like is that. you
This is
get
different
a
kind of
lot-
housing, I'm just saying, I was just
Yeah.
wondering if
yeah,
you're familiar.
no, I'm not, I've been looking kind of for something like that, just like to see if the model works, quite frankly, because I got a lot of pushback, honestly, on this plan, on this density. I mean, it took me 4 40B consultants before I could find someone who would work on a project this scale, and just say,
They're
Yeah.
looking for something bigger. right?
Yeah.
And
There's just a high demand for one bedrooms.
yeah,
That's.
No, I think
that's
this
why
is, this one
yeah.
fits a need.
No, it's a good
Yeah.
mix. I think in Kingston, the issue you might run into is finding acreage that doesn't have wetlands.
I think that's a lot of the South Shore, though. to
Yeah,
be fair.
yeah.
I
yeah,
mean,
a lot of
we were
wetlands.
lucky, that we have 7.5 feet high as our, seasonal high groundwater, which was,
Mhm.
good, and it was 2 inches per hour.
I don't know if you're up on that one. what was going on with Weymouth, if you're familiar with the ADUs?
I'm not too familiar with what goes on in Weymouth, quite frankly, even though I'm in the business.
Didn't they make it
because-
more restrictive than less restrictive? or something?
Weymouth
Yeah,
kind of marches to their own beat.
They,
And I-
they didn't want people to be able to rent them out. They wanted them strictly to be for family members,
Sure,
because you had to have a common living area. You could have separate entrances, but you had to have a common living area and you couldn't charge rent.
Okay, so they were making it more restrictive.
Yeah,
Okay,
oh, yeah,
I just,
yeah,
but
Yeah.
they did rezone some land up there
yeah.
for more.
Well, we have,
Down in Weymouth
You know,
Lane.
as a community and our town planner, she just put out an RFP for consultant to help us write, the ADU zoning that we have. Ours is virtually
Archaic,
non-existent.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
And we do see that as a valuable option for a lot of people. Unfortunately, because they're not going to be restricted, they won't count in the subsidized housing inventory that the state uses to
Sure.
determine if we're meeting our 10%. But we still feel that it's a valuable option for people, not only for individuals who would want to live in them, but also for people, a young couple like yourself. You have an ADU in the backyard. There's some income to you on a regular basis.
generational living in general has
Yeah,
been
yeah.
making a resurgence.
Exactly. You want to have mom and dad close, but not too close.
We're going through this right now, trying to get my parents to move back,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
My parents, I stayed here for 40 years.
Mhm.
I was born and raised here, but they're originally from New Jersey and New York area. So I know nothing about that. I guess I was born in Andover, been here my whole life. They moved back for family, moved away from us, and we started having kids. And
Now they want to come back.
they're like, we can't afford it. So
Yeah.
it's a real thing.
Yeah. I can see that your wife was not able to
No, unfortunately.
join us. So what questions do you have for us? It seems like we've been peppering you with a lot of questions.
No, I think you were going down, I mean, if there's anything to expand upon the line that the talk track that you were going down, which was kind of the state of the town, at a very high level. So obviously sewer and water connections are
Are
a big
an
thing.
issue right now. Like I say, I think the sewer is going to resolve before too long, but as Paul pointed out, we don't have sewer everywhere. The 75% of it is private sewer.
I'm more concerned about the water side, because like I said,
Yeah.
we are doing private, sewerage here.
Mhm,
And it is, as long as the soil is good and,
mhm.
obviously, we don't have wetlands or anything like
Mhm.
this. This is, it's a possibility, right?
Yeah.
I think the big thing is the water connection. And I mean, Wareham was nice enough to tell me in the Affordable Housing Trust from the get-go that, hey, if you want to propose something, then we're just gonna have to figure out more water supply, because
Mhm.
they're in the same problem.
Same issue.
But I can only imagine that is, massive, obviously
Well,
at odds with
We have
the
a water,
town
we have
interests.
water commissioners. They have a site that they would like to purchase to put a new well. I don't know. I don't think they purchased it yet, right? So it's, once they purchase the land, then I don't know how long it takes, a couple of years anyway, to get a new
Yeah.
well in. So that would be probably the biggest stumbling block for someone coming in and buying a piece of land that does not already have water connections.
So if it has water connections, let's say, I mean,
They haven't firmed up the specifics, other than say stop.
Right,
I haven't seen that they firmed up their game plan.
right, their
To get to the end
gallons.
of that motion.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we were anticipating that they might revise that restriction because we felt that they might have been using water usage volume during COVID when
Sure.
people were
yeah,
home more.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and using more town water. Now many people are back out for work. They're-
whether or not they entertain an increased flow in existing connection,
Mhm.
I don't know, but they
Yeah.
might,
Yeah,
Yeah, Yeah.
so.
yeah, so that would probably be your biggest concern right now is whether or not you get water. I mean, obviously, we're interested in dealing with people who are interested in providing the type of housing
Yeah.
the town needs. We're desperately in need of more affordable units of various sizes, and it
And
looks like
yeah,
that's been addressed too.
Our master plan, if you can find land, which is
It's
sometimes,
tough.
if you can find land that's somehow near
Mhm.
the main drags that go through town, whether it's
Seems like Wapping
Summer
Road
Street or
seems to
something,
be,
you know, because there is
Yeah,
bus
that's
service.
106.
There is bus service that comes through down the main,
Mhm.
down 3A
Right,
and goes up into Plymouth into the different shopping areas.
for those who
The
don't have
Gatra buses.
cars,
So there is some public transportation,
What
not a lot.
that empty lot
Yeah.
next to Sullivan Tire, is it Sullivan Tire up on the main road?
that's
Yeah.
owned by the lady that has,
You know what I've heard's going in there?
what,
Car wash,
a car wash?
maybe.
Another car wash, like Kingston needs 2 car
You didn't hear it
washes?
from me.
Because I thought originally there's
Sullivan
discussion
Tire?
of veterans
Next to that.
housing.
Sure. thank you.
Yeah, doesn't,
Yeah.
this was, but
Yeah.
somebody come in about a car wash.
You know, you can look on GIS.
Interesting
have you-
point.
Yeah.
I'm sure you are familiar with GIS.
Interesting point that you make is because it hasn't really been reflected in our zoning bylaw book yet,
Mhm.
but we did pass a couple of years ago. The ability with a special permit from the planning board to put residential in a commercially zoned piece of property
That's something I'm seeing a lot. Yeah.
without any density restriction.
Oh, wow, even more
I
so.
Yeah.
think that is intention.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
well, that was,
No, I'm
I
saying,
mean,
you know,
that's all, that's a great,
But it does say it's supposed to do commercial in the first floor, but you
okay.
can go up as far as you want to go on the second and third floor.
Yeah, I
with
mean,
residential.
I'm
Just
sure,
something to
I'm
think
sure
about.
that, there you go, up the- it's almost like the
And most of
square,
that's-
every
And
level.
most of
goes-
those are on
it-
sewer,
You know,
so,
it increases your pushback.
but we
I'm
do
sure,
have,
but-
we do have places that are still houses that are in
Mhm.
commercial zone on the main
Mhm.
drag.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, no, that, you know, I think that actually, I'm gonna make a note of that, just because, you know, rezoning, I mean, the world is going through this right now. We're trying to figure out how to use, you know, Class B office space. I mean, I
Yeah.
talked to banks, and I'm hearing from bankers that they're concerned about, you know,
Empty office
having,
space.
yeah,
Yeah.
having too much of this in their portfolios.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have that issue here.
Absolutely.
You want to buy them all? No.
Yeah, and we don't have,
But-
we don't have empty warehouses sitting around.
Well, actually, the
There's
only,
not a lot of municipal land that could be reused.
they're building like condos, but commercial industrial like condos up off of Marion Drive.
Okay,
And the units aren't that big, and they got them on the market for $450,000.
really?
It's just
Okay.
a big box that'll go
Yeah.
in the bathroom.
Yeah, we're one of the MBTA towns that
Okay.
is required to, provide a plan and build some
Yeah, that's
housing within walking distance.
that's you know, another, you know, whole, you know, you go the 40R route is what you're
Yeah.
talking about,
Yeah.
right?
Well, we
Yeah.
have a property right next to the MBTA that has been zoned 40R.
Okay,
But, was that 2009,
It's getting close.
2008? I think the
close.
town meeting voted to make it 40R. And then the recession hit and the developer wanted.
okay.
So the zoning is still there.
It's a big
But,
piece, 100 acres.
yeah, but the owner doesn't seem
Yeah,
anxious to do anything right now.
always baffles me, but, you know.
Yeah.
100 acres, wow.
Yeah.
In 40R.
Yeah.
Doing nothing with it.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
it's just saying, it says Mary O'Donnell's gravel pit.
Yeah,
Now it's
yeah, well,
a
Sean's,
dirt dump.
yeah.
But
yeah.
it's being
She's still
used, but
on
not to its highest and best use.
Yeah.
Depends who you're talking to.
Yeah.
She's
You
still
know?
on.
She owns it, but I think her son
Yeah.
is managing everything now. She's in Ecuador for the winter.
So we're supportive of whatever.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
bottom
we
line.
want to continue to have conversations with you to see what
I mean, if
you
you
might
happen
be
to find,
interested in doing.
if you happen to find a piece of property.
Yeah, how we can
and have
work
some
with you,
questions, just
support you.
Say, hey, when you guys meeting?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing on this was that, you know, and that's why I wanted to get some clarity on the water hookup, because in this particular property, there was actually already 2 buildings. There's a fully functioning house, and then there was a, quite frankly, an illegally converted garage in the 90s. Which, you know,
Oh,
was,
we didn't have any of that.
yeah.
No, well, as long as they were assessing it. As long as they were taxing it. they're saying that it's-
Yeah,
after 10
so-
years.
Paul was our building inspector
Oh,
for
okay.
many, many years, and he
Okay.
still does it part-time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And George, by the way, in Pembroke is awesome. I like him probably, I don't know if you know George, but he's an awesome guy. I like working with him a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was just two buildings and they had I mean, for Pembroke, that's not a large lot, but 1.5 acres and it was, a lot of
Pembroke's had
frontage.
a lot more larger scale.
Oh, yeah, they're at 10%.
This would actually put them at 10%.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
thought they were at 10%.
So,
Every time they build a regular house, it goes,
Yeah, I guess.
so
Yeah.
that's a long story. Maybe we'll take that offline, but we
Well,
actually,
it's a moving scale and it's
Yeah.
really hard to get to the 10% because
Yeah.
just when you're about there, then somebody builds something that's not.
Yeah. so there's a 66 unit development that's in the ZBA that's ahead of us.
Okay,
And that was supposed to be 10%, but the new census data came out.
so it's
Yeah.
not.
okay.
All right, well,
So, sorry to go back,
Mhm.
so talking about the census data, it sounded like a lot of things have been developed since that census data came out. Here, you're saying 200 units.
We're nowhere near. The
Yeah,
only thing we might have had 1 year off, that, whatever they call that,
Yeah.
when you've done a search percentage. We have a-
Safe harbor.
Safe harbor,
Thank
yeah,
you. Yeah,
yeah,
but we're nowhere near 10%.
okay.
yeah. No,
4%.
we're hovering between 4 and 5. Yeah. All right, well, Josh, thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Yeah, very much
Please thank
appreciate it.
Angela for contacting me
I will.
and thank you for taking the time to come in and
Yeah.
talk with us.
Thank
And thank you for this.
Do you have a business card?
I didn't even think about that. I'm just like, I gotta print out something to
Well, you're
show
going
them.
to send that to me.
Yeah, well, I can send this
So-
to you and I can give you a little bit more of an information packet
Okay.
along with it.
That
And
would
and
be
thank
good.
you, and I'm sorry, I'll be able to get this at least to you after the fact, postmortem.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks, Josh.
It's a quick study. He'll get it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right, thank
Have
you
a
so
good night.
much.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. All right, next item is our minutes from December 7th.
Ocean.
Do I have a second? Any discussion?
No.
Okay, I'll call for a vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jen, I,
Jean, I.
Nathan, I.
Okay, 4-0. Okay, community engagement, video. I happened to be at PAC TV today reporting Healthy Kingston. And so I moseyed over to see if our contact Erica was in, and she was not. But the main woman, Elizabeth, came out and talked to me, and she was somewhat surprised that the video project has not been completed. So she sent me an email today and CC'd Erica, and she assured me that,
The check is in the mail.
well, that,
Yes.
she's going to follow up and make sure that this gets moved along, so. So that's all I have for you on the video. Nathan, Affordable Housing Trust brochure statistics. Do you have updated stats for us?
There are updated stats in the CPC section, or the affordable housing section of the new CPC plan.
Okay,
I don't know that they are these specific statistics that we were talking about updating in the brochure.
yeah,
Um, So
yeah, because I thought you said that the town planner was gonna provide some stuff.
yeah, I still haven't gotten anything on that front.
Okay.
So I took the updated stuff that I found on the state website and put it
Mhm.
into the CPC plan. That's
Okay.
the best I have at the moment.
Okay. All right. I mean, it's not critical, but I really would like to get something out there that doesn't have 2018 and 2019 in it. Just kidding. Okay, ADU RFP, Paul, have you heard anything? Did that
Oh,
get
yeah, I talked
published?
to Val and she'd sent it out to
Okay.
several people and
Okay,
nobody was interested.
really?
Except one person said that she was gonna talk to her this week
Okay.
about maybe if she would be interested in helping, but maybe not to the scope. The original proposal had a lot of public meetings and all that,
Mhm.
and everybody's busy with stuff. And I guess Judy Barrett was busy with MBTA stuff.
Mhm.
So she's supposed to talk to that person. She thought this
Okay.
week, so
Okay,
it may not be as
extensive as it was in the RFP.
you know, there may not, yeah. Hmm. And
I
if you
got-
send them out and you don't get any replies, then you can go looking, so you
Right.
can negotiate and stuff
Right.
like that, so.
Yeah,
I think that she's in a better, she's in a
Better
better
position,
position
okay.
to
yeah.
come to some understanding of what's really necessary.
Yeah, I mean, I sent her California's, theirs is pretty recently updated. I know there's other.
Whoever she was
updated-
talking to, and she gave me the name, but I, you know, help him with that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but I
she was
mean,
comfortable with them and she
Right.
said, yeah.
but there are some out there that we could take a look at.
And I think that's what,
Yeah,
so, you know, whether or not you may get all the public meetings that go along with that.
yeah.
But-
Well, I think there should be at least one.
No, I'm saying,
Yeah,
you know, I
yeah.
don't know. Whether or
Okay.
not, or maybe something where the person that's a consultant doesn't go to that meeting,
Mhm.
just they do it locally, you know,
Mhm.
that kind of stuff.
Right, okay. All right, I have not heard anything from Habitat. I did mention the property on River Street. I think they've ruled out Smith's Lane. That was determined to just be too complicated a situation with all the liens.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Um,
lean.
Yeah, yeah. So, I'm not sure where they are on the Maple property. I know there's an interest by the town to acquire that because it would help with, building a new police station. It's right adjacent. So, don't know where that goes. All right, so I did complete a CPC quarterly report, sent it out to you, for comment. I didn't receive any additions or changes, so if you're all set with that, I'm gonna send that out.
Yeah, please do. I read through it and, it's, very
So
similar to
Nathan,
the previous one, but accurate.
Okay, so is anybody keeping track of the fact that we're submitting these?
They are presented in our information packet.
Okay.
So
Okay.
everyone has access to it.
Okay, all right. Okay, and then the other thing. Still no additional activity at Kingston Housing Authority. Haven't heard back from Mark Koenig. He was the gentleman, he was the real estate agent representing the property on Crescent. And
He's been in to talk to the town.
yeah, well, he and I had met and then I talked with Jason, I talked with the
Just
sewer
informally
department.
though. just
Yeah. And so they were having trouble finding a developer, so I referred them over to the Dakota partners that had met with us not that long ago. Okay. There was some other. Okay, and I haven't heard back from Ken Wiley on our CD. He was gonna roll it into a 6-month CD at 5.48. And we had agreed, I notified him that that was what we wanted to do. All right. So we still don't have a designated housing representative, the CPC. Which is just too bad, you know. I just can't take it on, and I know you both thought about it and can't do it either. So I don't know what we're gonna do to resolve that. Okay,
Is that anybody interested in this committee?
not that I can find.
Mhm.
I know the selectmen have mentioned it numerous times that there's vacancies on this. I did send an email to the selectman who's supposed to be on this committee, haven't got a reply. Because she is not, she's not been able to attend apparently. But I didn't get any reply either as to, what we might do to be sure that she could attend. So I will follow up with that. Anything else? Anybody got anything?
Just
Nathan?
just a general
No.
comment on this, that
Mhm.
there's not much open space.
Well, that was why I was asking about green space. Where's the green space? Because it looks like the parking lot is in front of the building.
Yeah, the front of the parking lot's in the front of the building, and that's where the sewer system is. In the back of the lot, just about the whole back of the lot is a drainage ditch.
Yeah.
Because every time you see those lines, that means it's a change in elevation.
Yeah.
But I gotta kick it.
The one,
Each-
the one pass, the one pass that I would allow is if it's close to a park, like a public open space.
And I didn't
No.
get the impression that it is.
Well, there is, because the school's right there.
Oh, it's not
Um,
close.
It's not adjacent though. It's,
No,
you know, it's,
I know the lot. The guy used it as a construction guy, he used it for piling his dirt and stuff.
okay.
oh, do you?
Yeah. If you're coming from the hockey rink, comes down to, gonna hit
Right.
27.
Okay. All right, so
But each unit has its own front door to
It
the
does.
outside.
it does, but looking at the design is like, yeah,
Yeah,
it looks like a
yeah.
motel.
That's fine. It's,
I'm
it is
sure
a
it'll
smaller,
get
it's a
modified.
smaller, it is a smaller, it's a smaller lot and it's
Mhm.
dense, but it is, it's a lot of 300 unit things somebody's trying to
Right,
bang,
right.
so.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
mean,
A
I
lot
think,
less impact for the neighborhood than a
Right.
giant one.
and I do think there probably are some 1-2 acre lots still available in Kingston.
You can do this down by his house.
Yeah,
Maybe it's down over to
Stick them all in one
um,
corner right by May Avenue and be done with it.
That's
similar to
right,
what's
yeah.
down
5 stories,
Huh?
The train.
5 stories, I think.
Yeah,
The Reed.
yeah.
oh,
You
yeah,
can see them by the Reed. They're
Yeah,
similar to that.
yeah. I forget what they're called. They're right there on 3A, right downtown,
What those,
Where- where the
yeah.
greenhouses used to be.
Yeah, the good, they're sixplexes,
Yeah.
because you have up to 5, 6, I think, 6 units in a building.
Mhm.
So now there's like. Maybe 30 units
Okay.
down there anyway.
But see, they're within walking distance of.
Yeah,
Of
that's very
businesses,
convenient, except
and they're right around the corner from the Reed, where there are ball fields and,
everything's there except
Yeah.
in the train.
yeah, and except
But-
you can't get on there.
No, you know when it goes by, you know how long you have before you have to be, that's.
Yeah, yeah,
But it is convenient to everything else.
it is, and that's why, we haven't heard from the young man that owns the concrete business. He had great plans for rehabbing that whole other side of the street.
Oh, yeah, well, he's
Yep.
selling everything.
Is he?
Yeah.
So it goes that plan. Okay.
But somebody else is gonna, I think, whether he sells all of it or not, somebody's gonna finish the building that he built out back, because there's 2 units on that.
Mhm,
Maybe put 2 more units on top of it,
mhm.
but.
Okay, because I really liked his plan. It was a mini Derby Street.
Yeah, and maybe the next person will do that.
Yeah, okay. All right, so the CPC is going to look at all the applications tonight. And Nathan has agreed to represent the Affordable Housing Trust when it comes to the discussion of that application. Nathan, is the business tonight to determine if all the requirements are met and if it'll go forward for further discussion?
Yeah, we should be voting tonight to recommend projects to town meeting.
Oh, really? This early?
Yeah,
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. I wish I could be there, but I can't. In fact, I have 4 minutes to get somewhere. So-
Okay, I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Nathan,
Oh.
I.
Okay, and Jean, eyes for